right. Thank you, everybody, for coming here today, and welcome to Work Reimagined, Humans, Machines, and How We Work Best. I hope you enjoyed the incredible show of the keynote. My God, that band was fantastic. So much fun, and I hope you're excited about the new Canva AI. Are you? Good. My name is Steph. I'm the head of AI research at Canva. I have the pleasure today to be here with three incredible panelists. Hilary Carpio, VP of Growth at Snowflake, Dan Vahey, Head of B2B Marketing at OpenAI, and Billy, VP of Marketing and Digital Innovation at Virgin Voyages. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Cool. So let's just jump right in with some quick fire question. So what is hot take, AI hot take for you today? Like, what's the one thing that you get up in the morning and think, oh my God, this is going to be crazy or huge or disruptive?
I think for me and the people that I work with, AI tokens are the new cryptocurrency. So we talk about it a lot. We never thought that was really going to be a topic of conversation, but it's something that's on our minds every day.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I can go next. AI is innovating incredibly quickly, and we've seen so much change already. But my hot take is we're really only at the tip of the iceberg for enterprise transformation.
Yeah. All right, AI hot takes. I wish there were some like balloons falling down here as well when I'm speaking. That was an exciting keynote. I think my hot take is that as much as we talk about the tip of the spear and what we see in developers and codings and agents, like there's still so much value in just everyday use cases. So like the things that I'm obsessed with are data analysis. How am I thinking about you just even automating like core workflows? I think actually the hot take is like there's actually so much more value in even just how we're using the tools today that even the bleeding edge isn't necessarily where most people need to be. It's still kind of figuring out how we automate a lot of the core workflows to add value.
That's a great one. So maybe doubling down on that one, maybe a question for you, Hilary. What's an AI use case that isn't getting enough attention, you think, today?
Yeah, so I think as generative AI becomes more and more prominent in our work, we're seeing a lot of text-heavy projects, right? We're creating a lot that we can just click the next button and there's more text that's written, there's scorecards that are created. And I think we're risking the loss of the visual layer. And I think it's the perfect place to talk about it at Canva Create. And with some of the announcements that were made on stage, we can have that brainstorm buddy and the visual architect next to us to ensure that we're getting that aha moment with our peers as we're thinking of big ideas and bringing them to life. We want to bring people along that journey. The visual journey is so important in getting people aligned against a big vision.
Ben?
You know what I haven't seen people do often enough is actually really connect all their different systems. And like I actually do this with my team. Like we actually have kind of these AI build hours where we go in to ChatGPT and we're just like, hey, what are all the different types of applications, the data sets that we want to kind of bring and help our workflows? So actually taking the time to integrate your email, connect, tools like Canva, kind of bring those all into the AI platform that you're using. And just kind of using the tools to basically kind of leverage and connect the knowledge together. So when you query something, having it pull from all the different data sets and connect the dots. I feel like that is one of the most high leverage things you can do with AI is actually connect your systems, connect your data, bring in things like Snowflake as well, and allow AI to kind of like reason over all this context and give you kind of really clear information. And that's something like as a worker, like I just wouldn't do. I hate toggling between different systems to find context. So bringing AI in and having it do all that hard work of like connecting dots is a really powerful use case.
And we are seeing also the glimpse of AI transitioning basically from something you basically tell what to do, right, to AI taking a little bit more of a proactive role. Like we have seen with, OpenCloud definitely like opens the door for that, where you have your computer going on like open 24/7, and then in the morning, you wake up, 8 o'clock, and then your computer wakes up at 6 o'clock and has already figured out what news you should read and what you should pay attention to and prepare, some of your days. So when do you think we're gonna see a more like complete transition to reactive AI versus proactive AI? Maybe starting from you, Billy.
I mean, I think we're already starting to see some of that like lower level task automation. For example, I have an agent that crawls the internet and looks for relevant news in the cruise industry, and I get it served in my Google chat every morning. So I'm not having to go and look for a newsletter. It's just there. It's another message that I check, and I can get like up to date when I'm drinking my coffee. I think where we're starting to see even more value from that automation is rather than needing to set a reminder on my calendar to like refresh my like QBR report, it's doing it proactively. And it's telling me when something's wrong that I should go look at. So I don't have to be like as on top of it as I used to have to.
Thank you. And then do you think there's like a cultural shift that needs to happen inside organizations before they're like ready to embrace those AI tools?
100%. At Virgin Voyages, our cultural shift happened from the top down. At the beginning of last year, our CEO decided that in order to democratize access, we needed to give people the thing that they have the least amount of, which is time. So on Mondays from 2 to 3 p.m., our company actually shuts down, and we call it AI discovery time.
Yeah.
There's no metric that we measure other than using AI tools to learn and be better. It could be a personal project. It could be something that matters for your job, a hackathon. But really, we just want you to learn and engage with AI so that you're keeping kind of up to date and upskilling yourself.
That's really cool.
Can I add one thing to that? What's really interesting about AI is like when I think about work, I think about like there's two things that you kind of approach it as. It's your taste, essentially your shared experiences, what you've learned throughout your career, like how do you apply that to know what great's looking like? And then there's curiosity. And I think this is actually really interesting with AI, is that curiosity really becomes a compound skill. With AI, as you get more curious and you kind of ask the models and you kind of test and push yourself, like you actually learn and improve so much more faster, and you kind of enable the technology to do different things that you wouldn't necessarily thought possible. So like what I try to do in my organization, and obviously people are very into AI at OpenAI, but even then, I try to prompt the team to like have that level of curiosity. In many ways, actually trying to teach people to be curiosity. So like we set goals with them where I want everyone, prompting and doing at least like 10 messages a day. And I actually set up an automation to even tell me every single day how many messages I see, because I know daily active use is a huge unlock. We actually do things similar where we may bring people together to build together, because it's actually really helpful to have other people do different things that you didn't think were possible. And it's like, oh, I didn't know I could use, Codex for that example. Let me try that. As well. And we actually publish them all in a Slack channel. So if I have a new hire, I'm like, go to Slack, just write a query, learn from all these different use cases too. But just how you kind of like actively promote curiosity within your teams and share those learnings, this is a really powerful way. And you're going to see yourself compound in terms of your expertise and comfort level so much faster.
Fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing. And then Hillary, a question for you. What do you encourage marketers to do more of or less of with AI?
Yeah, so in order to be effective with AI, we need to know what good looks like. And so I'm encouraging my team to do more of understanding what you're really trying to achieve and the underlying foundation and process to get there. We need to know what that is in order to build the right systems, architect the right integrations, and build these end-to-end human-in-the-loop modules in order for us to be successful.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Dane, question for you. What do you think executives should be measuring to see if AI is effective in the organization in increasing, productivity or like ideation? Like, what's the one thing that they could? What's the metric they could look at?
So I think a lot of people have kind of looked at time savings as their metric, and like raise your hand if you feel like you have more time back since AI came around. All right, so you guys are like generating, getting some time back. I personally feel like I'm overwhelmed.
I'm really surprised at the number of hands that went up.
I was expecting that very differently as well.
It just feels like we're all a lot busier and working harder since AI. And actually, I think that's actually kind of what the capabilities unlock. So when I think about it, I don't ask people to say like, hey, I'm getting this hours back. Like I challenge people to think about what could they do before or what can they do now that they couldn't do before. So I think like this is where like makes me optimistic for where this technology is going, is that we actually do surveys. We find more than 80% people say that they were able to do things, whether it's like creating a deck in a different way or like getting really rich data analysis or like, being able to offload and create like a great brief with like a marketing plugin, but being able to do things you weren't able to do before. And I think as like a marketer, that just makes you much more well-rounded. And like going back to my previous point on curiosity, like that's what I want to prompt people to do, is do things that they haven't done before and actually stretch themselves into other disciplines. So if you have someone that really is focused on data, like teach your teams, like here's how I use AI for data, and everyone else can kind of learn those same skills. And you can democratize kind of learnings. Like I think we're in this actually really cool environment where high functioning teams will teach each other how they're using AI in different ways and allow people to actually absorb those same skills. So like output that you were not able to do before is a great barometer if you're using this technology well.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I can build on that really quick. One of the values at Snowflake is to put the customer first. And when you talk about being able to do things you weren't able to do before, I think there's a really magical future that we're right on the cusp of at Snowflake, where we can move from personalization to individualization and use AI to really deliver experiences that not only cater to the needs of the customer, but to the learning style of the customer. We all learn very differently, and we consume information very differently, and we all move at different paces. So we're on the verge of being able to say, hey, good AI is actually better open rates, faster time to close, but more use cases being opened after the fact, because we can better resonate with the people that we're trying to communicate with in a really effective way.
I was going to say, I think one of the things you guys launched today, which is conversational design, leans exactly into that, right?
Yeah.
Depending on where you grew up or how you learn about different design principles, the way you verbalize what you're looking for is often very different than maybe the person doing the design work for you. I would say for us at Virgin Voyages, we've found that instilling a builder mentality and having ownership from start to finish of an idea or a campaign, that's so much more possible now with use of tools like Canva or other AI tools, because you don't necessarily have to be born and bred in a particular skill set. You can do lots of different things now because you have a really smart assistant doing the stuff that you aren't familiar with.
Fantastic. So Billy, tell us more. So talking about capability unlock, you got teams of travel agents in Canva now who are creating multi-format campaigns. That's pretty incredible. Is that what transformation actually looks like?
Yeah, I would say, so for those of you who don't know, Virgin Voyages is a cruise line. And in the cruise industry, a lot of voyages are still sold by travel agents. They're really good salespeople. They're really focused on providing great customer service, but most of them are not very good marketers. And so when they struggle to create on-brand assets or put paid marketing into the marketplace, the thing that they kept coming to us with was, hey, I want to sell you, but I don't have the assets to do it. And so we thought, well, why not give them the assets we already have living in Canva, put them in a brand template or in a brand kit so we can preserve the parts of the advertising that need to be protected, but still let them put their own flair and design. And what we've seen is the agents who have engaged with that program are seeing more than double the conversion rate on those ads versus the ones they design on their own. So I would say what we found there is it's giving us confidence as a brand that we're being represented properly, and it's giving the courage to these small business owners to dive into marketing in a way they couldn't do before.
Thank you for sharing. And Dane, you sit really open now, you sit at the frontier of this technology, and you're marketing AI to marketers. They will use it to market, right? So this is kind of a unique combination. So what does that teach you that the rest of us cannot see?
You know, actually, like ironically, I'm pretty wary about marketing to marketers, just the tips of the spear. Like, here's how you should be using a coding tool at kind of the most advanced use case. And the reason why is I feel like people just generally get overwhelmed with a lot of what these models are capable of. And by just trying to optimize for like the very bleeding edge, you miss out a lot of value. So when I think about marketers, I essentially think about really what is the core primitives to do your job well. So that's content creation, that's design, that is like brainstorming and thinking, data analysis, and then potentially some like automations and workflows. And if you kind of like think about your work and like, hey, here's all the different ways that I can be a better marketer, and you kind of think about how to apply AI to do great data analysis. So like, I love it as like a thinking partner when I produce an asset to like, tell me what my customer might think is different or what they don't like as a brainstorming partner. I love it just basically setting up automations that simplify my time. But kind of thinking more in those primitive layers and like knowing where you can apply AI across all these different disciplines will make you much more well-rounded and kind of capable with the technology versus like, what is the most bleeding edge use case?
Very cool. Any other take on this point from the other panelists?
Yeah, I can add on to what Dane is saying in terms of getting people hands-on and building. How many people in the audience have teams you're managing? I mean, okay, a few. There's a psychological safety that I think we owe our teams as leaders to use AI in basic, if you will, foundational maybe is a better word, ways, and celebrate it, as opposed to only celebrating the very transformational wins that are happening at the bleeding edge that Dane is talking about. We do that, just to give you kind of a tangible takeaway. We have an AI day every other quarter where we're bringing all of our peers into a room and covering the foundational elements, doing hands-on labs. We're having hackathons internally. And so my hope, and if there's any team members of mine that see this, my hope is that my team walks away feeling safe to fail, safe to try, and safe to innovate and build.
Yeah, it's like experimentation is really a key piece there because everything is so new, right? So creating the space for that is very important.
Yeah, I would say I think one of the things that we established at the very beginning of bringing these tools into the workplace was that AI wasn't meant to replace anybody that works at Virgin Voyages. It's mainly there to help accelerate what's possible with the humans in the mix. I would say one of the reasons that we keep going back to a platform like Canva is that it is engineered to just work regardless of what you do or what your primary job responsibility is. But then there are these incredibly advanced features that have a low barrier to entry. You can get things done at scale, but in a way that is simple for most people. And I think that's really telling of why we have such a high adoption of Canva in the enterprise.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. So basically, to wrap it up, the main takeaways are stop measuring hours saved, right? Measure what's instead now possible. Tools don't change the behavior. Company culture does. And so that is an area of investment to make it ready for all the AI tools that are now flourishing. And then also another advice is basically stacking the small wins. It's going to be like a lot of little steps that improve the overall company processes and workflows, as opposed to one single big leap ahead. So that's something to keep in mind. And then if you like to dive deeper into today's content, you can scan the QR code to download your specially curated AI resource pack that we have prepared, including our new AI and marketing report. The code is over there. And then please join me in thanking Dane, Billy, and Hillary for this wonderful panel. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming today.
And the balloons. Yep.
Yeah.
We missed the confetti cannon.
Come by balloons.